Hello, guys. Yes, I'm pretty happy that I have the opportunity to share some little tips and tricks on how to get into the industry. So, to get things started and to slowly introduce myself about me and what I'm going to talk about, let's get no further. All right. So, as you've already heard, the presentation is called Absolute Beginner's Guide to Becoming a Junior 3D Artist in this case. Although I will speak a little bit more about 3D character art because that's what I actually do. But I'm sure that you can also apply this in other fields, just like environment art or material art and so forth. So a little bit introduction about myself. My name is Kaloyan Kalamov, and I'm from a city called Turuse in Bulgaria, which is just close to just close to the Danube. And I have about more than 3 years of experience in the games industry. My very first company is Black Sea Games, where I used to be a junior 3D artist. I was a generalist back then because that was just the very first job that I had the opportunity, and I couldn't say no. But after a year and a half, I had the opportunity to finally specialize into 3D character art because that was something that I've always wanted to do ever since I was at school. So I jumped into AMC, which is don't mistaken it for the movie company. It's called AMC Raw Studio. It's a outsourced studio in Bucharest, in Romania, where uh, they've worked on titles such as Witcher 3, some of the Call of Duty games, um, and many more that I can't share right now. But I'm very excited. Excited when the time comes for them to announce it because I had I had a first eye on some of the projects that they worked on, and I've worked there for somewhere around a year. And after that, I decided to come back to Bulgaria and pursue the freelance world. And right now, I'm working as a 3D character artist in a company called Sedleo, which is a small indie company. I'm on a contract there, and occasionally I hop into some small freelance projects whenever I get the opportunity. And also, I hope that I don't do something. I if I'm not being I don't know, offensive or something, but I'm actually a school dropout, a university dropout. I'm sure that most of you are students, and then and I'll be like, then why does this guy who has doesn't even have a degree talking here? Well, sadly, I used to study in the UK in Falmouth for a year in game art in the game art course, but sadly I couldn't afford it anymore because it was too expensive for me to continue on. So I decided to take the risk of being self-taught, of just uh, jumping into the world of the internet and watching courses, tutorials, and Discord channels like such as this lovely one, and seeking from professionals any guidance and feedback that I can. All right. So this was a short introduction about myself. Uh, and yeah, of course. So I don't just speak words. These are some of the few pieces that I've done. Some of my latest pieces in my portfolio, just to present what I've done. And yeah. So one thing that as a beginner who wants to get into industry is choosing what career path you want to jump into. Uh, Not everybody has an idea what they want to do in the beginning. Am one of the few exceptions because I've had like very strong interests ever since I was in school, and I've always wanted to do something involved with characters in games, where that would be in drawing or in 3D. And in the future, it just developed in 3D. But it's very important to understand what the different roles are in the industry and what their responsibilities are. And most probably in university, you are exposed to all disciplines, environment art, concept art, character prop art. So you kind of become a generalist. But my strong belief is that specialization is ideal for the long run. And why is that? Well, the industry gets more and more specialized due to the speed of how the tech evolves and the quality that is demanded. No wonder that you see very specialized roles as hair artists or fur artists, because you can't be as good in all different roles and expect to have like top quality results and do something that's it would outstand in a triple A quality. But of course, some of the specializations are more demanded. So just like, for example, tech artists or material artists. But that doesn't mean that because it's more demanded that you should jump into that so you can have an easier time finding a job. The most important thing from everything is to just choose what you love. Because you will not make yourself a favor if you cheat like yourself like that to jump into the industry doing something that you're not very passionate about it, because at some point if you feel burnt out or you have no desire to work this, then you might not even want to work at all, like in the industry, as harsh as it sounds. So you should be very sure of yourself, what you want to do, and just do something that you love, because that will what you're doing. And as I said, there's like all kinds of specializations. There would be character art, concept art, environment art, character art, as I already mentioned, hair art, weapon art, vehicle art, material art, foliage, tech art. It's almost like playing World of Warcraft and you play a class and you have to choose what kind of talent tree you have to pick up. It's a never ending story. All right, so you've already decided, you have a good idea what you want to do in the future, how you want to progress, but you're wondering where to begin, like where to go. Well, a place that I strongly suggest and that you shouldn't miss at all is our station. It is the most used and easiest website for building up a portfolio. That is the most important thing. But another thing that you should have in mind is that the market is already there for the games and VFX industry, because recruiters are using it to scout new potential talents. They already have a special set of profile in our station for companies and more specifically for recruiters to find any new artists in our station that would be a good fit for them. And also, there are thousands of true professional artists in the industry who are posting new art there. So a good opportunity to meet up some of them and just to connect with them, which means that uh, you the other power of our station is building up a network that gives you the exposure the exposure that might gives you a chance to find a job in the games industry, especially if it's very randomly from a from a AAA artist who might have saw your artwork and liked it, and for example, hit you a liked and comment. It's like, hey, good work. And also, it's free. Like, why wouldn't you take the opportunity of using a website tailored for artists and not just use it? So all right, you know where to go. But another thing that you need to have in mind is like where to pick up the resources for tutorials, and for tutorials and so on. Well, our station also has our station learning. It is a section in our station specifically for tutorials.
I
And
know why all the
the cool thing is that it's again free, and accessible. And the cool thing about it is that it also has videos not only for broad information about 3D art or concept art, orienting involving game dev art, but it also has tutorials for all kinds of fields: character art, environment art. Like on the screenshot that I'm showing you, the very first one, pushing your texturing further, is a super good tutorial for texturing, for example, when it's for free. I already forgot who it was, the artist, but I remember that it was someone from uh, the creators of Sniper Elite, the company. It already slipped from my mind, but it shows like how a professional artist in AAA company works, and he's showing this for free. So take this opportunity to use ArtStation Learning as a good free platform. And if you want to pay for any other tutorials that require money, of course, you can do that in many other places like CGMA for courses and stuff like that. Another thing that ArtStation provides are challenges. Those are competitions that happen once in a while every year. And I had the chance to participate in 1 2 years ago, uh, which was with the character that I showed you earlier, the bald one with the sticky things on his eyes. And the thematic was to build up a 3D character in a fantasy world, and you have to pick up a concept that was made during the challenge. But why am I sharing this? Well, you get the opportunity while working on this challenge to engage even with other artists, not only who don't even have experience, but ones who actually have tons of experience. AAA artists who decided that with their free time they want to challenge themselves, no pun intended, to do a new model in their portfolio, because maybe they haven't updated it in a while, and they've decided to do something in a month and a half, like with the deadline that they have, and to just share it with everybody. And you can also talk with them, ask them how they've done something in their model, like, because you have to share your work in progress every week. Like, I even think even more often than once in a week. And they might even notice you that you're active, and you can form connections, just something that I've mentioned earlier, building up a network. And if your model is super cool, it's awesome, has like thousands of likes. Not the likes aren't the most important thing, of course, but if the judge decides that you should be the winner, you can win, fame and glory, and everyone will know about you. So your network will grow even exponentially. Uh, and all right, so yeah, you've already uh, got to know what our station is about. So the next step is to already start building up your sweet portfolio. So, where to begin with your portfolio? First of all, it's good to make research of AAA artists in our station to have an idea what is expected from you in your portfolio. What I mean by that is, for example, you want to be a 3D character artist. You might want to work in a company like Frontier Development, and for frontier development you would want to see what their expectations are. So you go into our station and write a character artist in frontier development. Of course, don't try to only seek the senior artist, because you will get very um, uh, you won't feel very confident if you have such high expectations to think that they expect senior level, because you're looking for a junior level. Don't sweat it. So there are juniors and mid levels also who post on our station. So go just look at those portfolios, not the very top ones like Rafael Grassetti and all the top dogs in our station. And also another thing that I can suggest is to just read job descriptions posted on our station on or on other websites, because it's a very basic cheat sheet that you can look at. They absolutely give you out what they want from you, so you can know what to do in your portfolio. The most often thing that for character art is presented is knowing anatomy, knowing ZBrush, knowing how have an idea of proportions, texturing. Also, I see that Marvelous Designer cloud simulation is being more and more integrated and more essential in your pipeline. Everything is described in the job posting, so don't miss out on that whenever you have to make research on what a company wants from you, especially a company that you really want to work in at. And make it clear what you want to what you want to specialize with your where you want to specialize at with your portfolio. Because if you're a generalist, for example, all right, I mean, you're showing that you're a generalist in your portfolio, and you would post not only characters, but you would post props, environment, maybe even some animations. All right, you're showing to the recruiters, potential recruiters, what your portfolio is. But if you want to be precisely in work in a specific field, just leave whatever you want to do, and only that, like just 3D character art, just that. The other pieces, it's not necessary, because you want to speed up anyone's time looking at your portfolio. Because if a recruiter is looking at thousands of applications, they need to have an easier time looking at what you have. And also, what I would suggest when you are starting on a simple on a model is to start with something simple. Very, it's something that I highly recommend when you're starting a model, because if you go into making, for example, some Witcher character with a huge complex leather armor with attachments here and there with hair, uh, you will get not only lost into the process, but you still haven't developed the skills well enough in each particular field in the character art, like anatomy, like hard surface. Like there's some hard surface involved as well, like when you're making armors, or when you're making cloths. So start with something simple that isn't exposed with so many fancy stuff on the model, and but do it efficiently, of course. Quality over quantity, as people say. But because you're still a junior, another important thing to show off are breakdowns. By breakdowns, I mean show uh, as much detailed pieces in your model, like shots from all sides of the model, topology, UVs, texture sets, and so on. Because these technical stuff show to the recruiters and to the lead artists potentially who are looking at your portfolio that you know your stuff, that you're not trying to hide some 100K polygons into a small bag that you've attached to the model. Because I don't think that in the near future, as much as polygons are cheap right now, it would be very wise of you to have that many polygons in a little bag in games. And the why I'm suggesting this is because you're competing with hundreds of other artists who want this job. So breakdown. So if you do a breakdown, this is a big selling point in your presentation. And as I already mentioned, you just watch tutorials, read articles from where to get inspiration and to how to present your pieces, and you'll get there. It's just there's slow steps. So this is my current portfolio right now. But the model that I will give an example is gonna be one that I did before my very first job, because I felt that I wouldn't give you any favor showing any of the latest models, because those were made with already years of experience, and I want to show you somewhere where I clearly see right now there are some mistakes, of course, and you cringe always when you look at old stuff, but sufficient enough to land a job. So this was a model that I did before I landed my very first job. And the idea behind choosing this piece was simple. I like Total War Warhammer, and I'm a fan of fantasy art. I wanted to present something that's kind of resembled the Lizard Man in Total War Warhammer. So I decided, why not just choose a concept art that I liked very much in ArtStation, and this was the model that I did. And also I wanted to show some anatomy. The top part of his body is exposed, so you can see a little bit more from it. Some simple clothing that you can see, the skirt and some of the drapery and the little scarf around his neck, and something organic and very and small hard surface here and there. And also I was, as I said, constantly sending work in progress on Discord, in a Discord that I was before, where there were other professional artists, and always asking for feedback. Like always, when you're doing personal projects, it's always important to have someone to look at it. Don't keep it for yourself, because you won't learn anything like that. Of course, you can be self-critical. That's a good thing, always a good thing, but there will always be something that you're missing out. So always show it to a friend, another artist, and on this Discord, for example, because there's always gonna be someone who would want to lend a hand and help you, and it's always a good feeling when someone helps uh, someone aspiring to become an artist, and they see that they're willing to put that effort. And eventually, when I made the model, I got the opportunity to make a breakdown in the rookies, where I managed to show a little bit more of the process. But and also I have my PureRef file, so where I can show you a very brief example of what I managed to present. So this was the concept. Of course, it deviates a little bit from what I did, because it was too much as a beginner to assimilate everything that was happening. But in the end, I managed to present something um, that was something workable. That something could have been integrated into a game. And I also wanted to present some of a little bit of my process in the blockout stage. I presented which parts were made with Dynamesh, which parts were made with primitives, the thing that I wrote insert, and some of the processes that I just extracted from ZBrush by masking them. And also a very important thing is to have references. Like references is a huge part, and you should never miss out on having references, because if you feel stuck somewhere in the process when you're doing something, there's a high chance that you don't have enough references. So I really wanted to look at how a reptile skin looks. I just chose a Komodo dragon because I just liked how the skin looks, and some crocodile or alligator. I just can't differentiate. I'm sorry. And also the mask. I really wanted to have an idea how to do the mask from all angles. So I thought that kind of resembles a skull. It pretty much looks like a skull, but also it resembles a mask from the Aztec god himself, Tuawok. Even though it looks different than what it was on the concept, it still gave me some idea of some of the shapes of the mask itself. And also, I found some other mask on the internet that kind of supplemented the concept further with a better idea of what I need to do. And also the feathers, the body itself. As I said, I wanted to do something that was similar to the Lizardman in Total War. The clothing, and the crown itself. All right, so after I've done the blockout and all that, another thing that I presented also was the topology, and this was the topology of the character. It doesn't even have 50k triangles, which is perfect enough for a game because by today's standards triple A games, like for example, in Assassin's Creed, the main character can have more than 100k triangles. This is much more below that. It's almost half of that. And also, I showed my UV sets. It's very good to when you're still in the beginning to show your UV sets. As much as you might cringe on some of the UVs, it's a good technicality that shows how you know what pixel density means, how you know what a resolution means, and you know how to utilize the space in your UV maps. Right now, when I'm looking at it, I see that there's some UV space that I haven't used a lot, which I could have filled it so I can have more resolution on some of the parts on the model. But again, this was something that is on junior level, so it's not expected for you to be like on a senior level to do some high fidelity stuff. Also, it's very good when you're presenting stuff to have very good lighting, because it would be a shame to just ruin everything with awful lighting and not having anything visible. For example, this is how my model looked like initially. Everything was bland. Everything was bland. It didn't look okay. The lighting was too bright, and all the menacing feeling of the model was lost. So after some feedback, I played around with more cooler lighting, which in the process I kind of felt the vibe of the vibe that I was seeking, so it could look a little bit more menacing and a little bit colder. And in the end, I managed to achieve this result, and that I was happy with. And this is how it looked like in the end. I wanted to present the face. Of course, it's the most appealing part of of the character, so it's very good, especially when you want to have a thumbnail on your portfolio. The thumbnail is very important when you're posting something on our station, because it's the first thing that everyone sees, so it should be eye grabbing. And also some screenshots from all angles if you can. And yeah, I don't know why I decided to take a screenshot of this right now. I don't really like how it looks like, but it's an old model, so I can't be uh, I can't be that with such high expectations in the beginning. So yeah, and even some of and there's a little bit a breakdown that I presented as well in the rookies as well, like just showing how I made my opacity map. It shows a very good idea of that you know what you're doing. And also a part of my texturing. But if you want to see a better example of someone who even has done something much better than me, it's a friend of mine who is called Ricardo, and Ricardo is a senior artist in Hangar 13 working on Mafia, and the models that I'm showing here on the right, not on the left, are the ones that he did before he got the job. So he even has a much better example of what you need to do and what is expected from you. to do with your first models. And the first model that he chose is something that was with almost the same idea as me, like showing anatomy, showing that you know how to do clothing, you know how to do your textures and some small hard surface here and there. And this is like so far much better than what I managed to do. It's very good to be uh, to know that other artists, if, no matter if you're on the same stage, that you admire some of their pieces and take as an inspiration what they're doing. Just it's a very good thing, and there's no place uh, for any negative feelings. So it's a very good thing. It's a good thing to just take inspiration from that and not being envy. And GC is doing the same thing, showing topology, screenshots, and so on. All right, I've went a little bit further with this. So right now you've done your piece. You've already posted it on ArtStation, and you're already uh, good, and you're already good to start applying for jobs. So, where to look for job offers? Before you start looking for the job offers, be aware of the level that you're at. You're most likely looking for a junior position. More rarely, you can actually jump jump on the next level and be a mid-level without any prior experience, but it's pretty rare for that to happen. So as I already mentioned earlier, have an idea at what companies to work at. Either you want to work in Riot Games or in Frontier, in Creative Assembly. Have an idea where your portfolio could be applied at. Because, for example, with my portfolio, I mostly have like fantasy characters, more with clothing and so forth. So I don't, and my portfolio wouldn't fit in Infinity Ward making Call of Duty games. So that's not where I would be helpful, and the company very well knows when they're looking at my portfolio. And also, when you're looking at companies, make a research on, for example, their culture. What I mean by their culture, I mean when you look at their social media, look how they present themselves, and look whether they, for example, are they show off they show off a positive image of themselves, and whether they're being serious, if they're active, or if they're active at all in the social medias. And also look at their portfolios, like the thing that I said with ArtStation. You can look up at the artists in ArtStation and see what kind of portfolios they have, so you can have an idea if you see yourself um, doing what they're doing, and also have an idea whether you would have development opportunities, like if you would have any growth opportunities looking at these artists. Because if you're looking, like, for example, some senior artist in Frontier, and you're like, man, if I am in this company, I can learn so much from him, and I can become like very good at character art, and you would be very motivated to be around this person and to just squeeze from his brain. Also, another thing that might be very sensitive, but I believe that it shouldn't be, and it's very important for you to get away from that stigma and just research the salaries and the benefits behind companies. Uh, one area that you can look at is Glassdoor, for example, or LinkedIn. I think in LinkedIn you can look as well, and also see whether they afford, for example, remote work if you prefer remote work, or they insist on you to work in studio. But in this case, if they can offer you relocation assistance, that is a very important thing if you decide that you need to work in studio in some other country, for example, because that was the case with me. I was in Bulgaria, and when I went to and I had to go to Romania because they wanted from me to work in studios. So I had to make a big research and ask a lot from the HR there to help me out with the relocation. So they managed to assist me a bit with that. And also, when also another thing is that you can maybe see on Instagram or in other social medias for job postings. Uh, and when you already know where to apply, what you can expect from a company, you should also try to still grow your network. As I already mentioned, LinkedIn earlier, it LinkedIn is also a very good place to grow a network and post your stuff. And I actually even prefer to post my artwork more in LinkedIn than in ArtStation because the algorithm is much better. Why is that? Because, for example, you have Rafael Grassetti in your network, or maybe not, but all of a sudden he sees your artwork and he presses a like, and Rafael Grassetti has 500K followers. Now, because he pressed like on your artwork, all of his followers will see what you posted, and you have much more exposure. In our station, that's not really the case. I'm still not very sure how the algorithm works in our station, but it's not as big as not it's not as better as LinkedIn has, at least in my personal opinion. Also, use the opportunity to build some relationships. As I said, people can just toss like and comment under your artwork, and you can just do the same as well. That in that way you can even, for example, in the screenshot that I'm showing here, of my friend Nikolai Marinov, who presented, I believe, days ago, his presentation here. He won a contest from Adobe on Meet Matt, and a guy from CD Projekt Red just wrote him this comment that he likes it, and I'm sure that Nikolai spammed him a lot about CD Projekt Red, and this guy Valentin also already, because he liked his piece. I'm sure that he was more than open to share anything to Nikolai about CD Projekt Red because he sees potential in him, and and that way you keep a relationship like that. And whenever, if Nikolai decides that he wants to apply to CD Projekt Red, Valentin will know about him and he will have a small advantage because of that, because he actually formed a relationship on our station. But also, there are times when someone might not respond to you when you write to them on our station from some other company. But don't take it personal. Not everyone want to spend their, because not everybody, when they already have jobs, in their free time they want to engage in the social media, and or they don't just or they just don't have the time. Don't take it personally. There's always hundreds of other artists who you can contact, and they would be more than happy to talk to you and share anything that you want to know. But don't spam them, please. Don't, especially the HRs, don't spam them, please. Be mindful of their time as well, because because it can be a bit irritating. All right, so we get to a not so very fun part, and that is building up a strong CV. Uh, Building up a strong CV is, of course, something that shouldn't be taken lightly, because because it's also important, just as your portfolio, but your portfolio has a much bigger weight, of course. And ironically, the phrase "never judge a book by its cover" is actually the opposite here, because the cover is your portfolio, and you're the book itself, because with your portfolio, you're the cover that you actually grab the attention of everybody, and that's how you would get the opportunity for any recruiter to actually respond to you. And after that, you being the book, you share everything about yourself. And one thing that HRs have, recruiters, is something called ATS, Applicant Tracking System. What this thing is it uses to filter out through dozens of applications by looking through specific keywords. For example, anatomy, ZRush, marvelous designer, keywords that are written in your CV, and just saving time if they don't see enough matches in your CV that requires in their job posting. And they also keep history much easier like that. And don't go very broad with your CV. Be very short with it. Be presented with bullet points, very short summary of what your skills are, and just explain it simply. I just can't emphasize on that enough. If you don't have any professional experience, of course, don't panic. Don't panic. You can, for example, write something from your university. Like for example, you've been in a project, and you can write what your role was in the project. And if you've put the effort of writing it just as like almost as a professional CV, it would still grab the attention of any recruiter. You would look very professional like that, and they would appreciate it. And sadly for me, because I don't have any formal education, this won't apply for me. I can't, if I decide to work in the US, I can't get a visa because an education is something that will help if, for example, you want to work in the US, or I think even vice versa. You would need, if from the US, if you want to work somewhere in Europe, you still need an education to get a visa. So that's something that would be a plus for anyone who has a degree. And also, if you've been in an internship, there's no reason not to write that. So always write if you've been in an internship. All right. So, but someone from the recruiters have responded to your application, and they liked what you've done. So they propose to you an interview. Here, it's very important to be calm, be friendly, casual. It's good to have a. It's good to not be stressed, but just be honest. Just be overall honest, and just have a good awareness of what your capabilities are. Don't try to sugarcoat any of your skills, because again, you are most likely applying for a junior. You They have expectations for the application most probably was for a junior, so they don't have like expectations for a senior. So don't really stress about something that you might not know about, like doing hairs, for example. So most likely you won't be even doing a hair as a junior, like almost never in a triple A company. But most likely there would be a lead artist alongside the recruiter in the interview. So be ready to be asked hard skills question, like uh, how do you uh, what programs do you use, how you've managed to do this personal piece in your portfolio. Just make a short breakdown of some of your pieces and what your knowledges are in Unreal Engine, for example. But also, while this interview is going, overall, what is being tested are your soft skills, how you talk, whether you would connect with the colleagues in the company, because they are testing out whether you would be a good fit in the atmosphere as well. That's also a good thing because if you're not someone who is easily approachable in a company, it would be very hard for someone to want to work with you and to have any trust in you. So just be approachable. That's the most important thing. And always ask questions into interviews. Always. The the most common thing that you can that people ask in interviews are if there is a potential for growth. There it's always a pleasure for recruiters to explain to you what the steps are for progressing in the company from junior to senior to lead level, and how long it takes, and so on and so forth. It's always good thing. And also, if you have any curiosity for the company, you can always ask other stuff, but always ask questions because it shows that you have interest in the company, and the company is sure, and you can assure them that you are serious about applying for them. All right, so they liked you in the interview, but occasionally this would happen. An artist. Now it's a very sensitive topic, just like the salaries, the artists. It's something that is inevitable in the industry. Some companies present you an artist, some don't, but from my experience, most of them do. And why is that? Uh, just to summarize what an artist means, it's a brief that describes a set of requirements to be delivered to the employer within a deadline, to whoever is looking at it, lead artists in most cases. And every company have their own unique artists for each art position. It's not all of them are they require you the same thing, like specific topology and so forth. But in most cases, from what I've seen, the artists mostly they want to assess your skills under a short period of time, what you're capable of. It's not they don't expect you to do something in a in a full period of time, like making a full character. No, they most likely they want to from you to make only the top part of the character, for example. uh but because it sounds very stressful, you have to also work out how to manage your time. Time management is super important here. So try to create a schedule that fits every stage of the workflow, from block out, how much days you have to spend for the block out, how much days for the high poly, low poly, texturing, and presentation. And if you feel that you're missing out on time, of course, you will you will have to just improvise and do whatever you're capable of within this short period of time. But never hesitate to ask questions if something is not very clear with what they're asking you. Like you can't see something in the concept, for example, very clearly. You don't know whether they want one or two texture sets because they haven't written that in the requirements. If you can go a little bit above the polygon count, don't be afraid to ask these things. If you don't pass the art test, it's kind of pity, but you can always ask for feedback, like what you didn't manage to do well in the art test, so you can learn from that and apply it for the next time you apply, maybe in the same company again. But most likely they'll give you another art test, but still, that's how you learn from your mistakes. Okay, but there's a chance that you might have passed the art test, so you get the job offer. You are present. The second part is set up on the second interview, where you will discuss the job offer. They've already liked you. They've already gave the thumbs up, and the company is already convinced that you meet the level of quality that they're seeking. So one thing, some stuff that you have to be prepared about, and something that I discussed, which is still a taboo, is have an idea what uh, a very a simple idea what salaries you might want to expect. One thing that you can do is again go in Glassdoor, or you can go in Skill Search or in Numbeo. I think in Numbeo you can actually look a little bit more detailed of the living costs in the country itself, because if, for example, you live in the UK but you want to work in Bulgaria, uh, the living standards would be pretty different, of course, pretty different. And you need to have an idea what you want to ask about, because you should be prepared with when they ask you what kind of salary you expect, to just tell them, like, don't be unprepared and either lowball yourself or present them something over what their budget is. Uh, and when you're negotiating, just don't immediately throw them a number. What I would suggest for you to do is tell them a range, a salary range, like from one number to this number. And uh, the thing that you should know about is that they've already probably have a figure already in advance that they will offer you, and because they already like you, you won't shut their door. You wouldn't scare them off in no way. They will You will negotiate with them. It will be a back and forth conversation. So maybe you've said a specific number, but they will give you a little slightly less number, or you will manage to convince them that because of your these skills that you've presented and so forth, that you might convince them that this is the salary that you deserve. Don't just overall don't be afraid of talking about this. Like, have have uh, have this removed from your head, that this is something that you should be afraid of talking about, because in this time of age, you have so many resources about salaries, living costs, and so forth, that you can easily look it up on the internet, and most likely most of them would be accurate. So you would know about what to expect. Uh, and just Yeah, as I said, these are important stuff. And in the end, you accept the offer, and you already are in your first week in the company. Now, this might be stressful, of course. You're already there. You've already achieved your dream of getting into the games industry. So some stuff that you need to have in mind are that you will not be rushed into doing models. Most likely, you will be presented with the documentation of the company, how they make the models, and you will get to know your colleagues as well. And slowly, you will just have everything for you set up for you to start working, but you will not immediately start doing models. Uh, and while you're being there, while you're a junior, it is expected from you to make mistakes and not do everything like from the first time. So be acceptable to feedback. You most likely receive a lot of feedback in the beginning, and that doesn't mean that that you're not capable of what you're doing. It's just that it takes time to progress. The road is just different for everybody. So some might get it from the beginning, another from the 100th time. But if you are willing to accept feedback, if you're showing that, if you're approachable, as I said earlier, then there there's no need to panic. At some point, you will get there, and you will just see yourself doing awesome artwork in the future.